Hello, once again, creating with your spiritual universe, cwysu.com. I am Roger Baines, your host, and today we'll be going through part two of the Chakras, second part, two-part series, little two-part series I'm doing here on the chakras and the energy centers in the body. So let's get right to it. And as you know, in the first video, I went through talking a bit about why the chakras were put into place and created, what the agenda was behind it, and I think I've spent a time on that. And we're going to talk a little bit and focus a little bit more on the original energy centers that are a part of the authentic blueprint of who we are. Now, let us start off with, and I'm actually working a little bit with Laura Lee Mystica's information, and I will be posting the link below to her website so you can kind of check this stuff out. There's lots of information here, and I will be focusing on this particular part that she has here on the website, the subject of hand, the chakras. Now, our core or sun star chakra, or our heart, and I'm just going to substitute those words because we're more used to, or I shouldn't say chakra, or energy center, the original energy center. I'm going to refer to them as the head, the energy center in the head, the energy center in the heart, solar plexus area, and the energy center down in the loins. Okay? Now, where does our higher self reside? Our deep core self, our inner self, there are many names for that. That part of us, that's the source inside of us, that's the spark inside of us, resides in the heart. Your core, the sovereign core of your inner being, your higher self, resides in the heart. The heart cannot be tampered with. Also, therefore, she says here, when you say God is inside of you, it is literally true. It is literally true. Every book must eventually, any book written, especially any religious book written, no matter what they say anywhere else, eventually they have to say that. That's a part of the rule. They have to tell you that. You know, even in the Bible, I remember there's a passage in there where Jesus, he's asked a question about how to attain oneness with God, or how to get to the kingdom of heaven. And he says, you have to follow me. He says, I'm the way, the truth, and the light, or something to that effect. No one comes to the Father but by me, is what he says. And that's what he says in the beginning of his journey, when he is spreading the words of his father, who was proclaimed to be Jehovah. Later on, after he becomes really popular, he is asked a similar question. How do I get to the kingdom of heaven? And then he turns and he says, the kingdom of God is within you. So what is it? You have to follow him to get there, or is it actually already within you? The latter statement is the one that is true. You do not need to follow anyone. You do not need to follow anyone to know the God. Now, I say the word God just for clarification. Anybody knows and watches my videos knows that I do not believe in any gods. I do not have any religion, though I'm not an atheist. I am fully aware and in great knowing of the Creator, the true Creator, the Creator of all that is. And that Creator is not a God. That Creator would have nothing to do with any kind of religion or book. It would never lower itself to the status of a god. So I just wanted to make that perfectly clear. When it says that God is within you, or the source of all creation is within you, is literally true. Searching for any God outside of yourself will cause you nothing but problems, because you'll find things, but it'll be something that'll be there ready to latch on to you and feed on you, because what you're looking for is already within you. And often you'll go into, particularly if you go to a ceremony or a meditation, particularly any kind of New Age gathering, you'll hear something to the effect, open your crown and bring in the white or golden light down through your body, lighting up each chakra and then ground it into the earth. Yeah, you might feel good doing that, but think about it. You're bringing an outside energy in, because if you already have source within you, you have that energy streaming, and you simply need to invoke it from within yourself. Anything coming from the outside, if the spark of the creator is within you, why do you need to get something from the outside? You don't have to go outside to find the creator. The creator is always within you. And you can bring whatever energy you need from within you. Anything from the outside is an imposter energy, and you will feel it later on. And when you bring in these energies from outside of yourself, okay, you're ignoring the power within you. And you're pushing back your own energy source, or something that is placed within you that is there to control you and place hooks and leverages within you that can be used later on against you. Okay? So that's a very important to know and remember. Very important to know and remember. Now, let's go into what these three energy centers are like and what their purpose is. We'll start with the mental intellectual aspect, which is the energy center in your head. And what that does is it operates from the head, where the brain or mind star is located. The mental aspect of this interfaces with all the brain mind functions and helps integrate left and right brain so that neither is dominant and they work in synergism with each other. You can see how this is supported when you look at the picture that is now being displayed, and understand how the spiritual body moves the energy from left to right and right to left as it rotates. Then you have the emotional intuitive, or the heart area, or the heart core star, or where the heart core star and soul resides. And this aspect is functioning properly. When functioning properly, is the master center and is bigger than the other two. This is the heart center. Its job is to not only just manage itself, heart and soul and emotions and intuition, but it has the innate intelligence, wisdom to initiate and continue the interfacing of all three aspects and keeping them in good working order. And then the energy center located down in the loin area is the aspect that is extremely important. This is where your sexuality resides. This is where your creativity resides. Okay, and without creativity, we are not who we are. That's the big who they grow up being a human being. You're a super creator. And that is nothing to sneeze at. That is actually one of the most craved gifts in this universe. Creativity is how we solve problems, how we get ourselves out of messes. And with this energy combined and working as one with the heart and the head, you've got perfect synergy working and going on throughout your body in a healthy fashion. Now, in the picture that you're going to be looking at now, you can see the chakras. You can see how they're just sitting there ready to be tapped by outsiders, interfered with, manipulated. Okay? It's like an open invitation to anything that wants to come along and just, vamp on you and take your energy. And that includes other people. That includes not only beings, this includes other people. They come up to you and latch on and start sucking your energy. You ever walk up, hang around a person and you know that type of person, you can't stay around them very long. You can't stay around them. You stay around them and then you just feel drained. You just have to go. That person is either carrying an energy that is latching onto you and feeding, or they're doing it themselves. It's a pretty elaborate system to keep you controlled. It really is. And that's why I recommend really take a serious look at this, because there is something that you can do about it. So when you integrate your chakras and you bring those three energy centers online, they all work as one. They all supply your endocrine system, your glands, everything. They're not separate, as in the system that you've just gotten rid of. They all work in synchronicity, synergistically, addressing every single thing, with, of course, the heart energy center in the lead of it all. Okay, when it's a healthy system and you have done the work, the inner work, and it's all healthy, led by the heart, everything works as one. It's also important to know that not all beings or people on the planet are organic or authentic. Not every human being that you see is an organic entity. That's a whole separate video on its own that I think I'm going to do a video on that. But so if you're dealing, so you might see someone and go, I tried that. I just can't do it. It might be, or I went to someone who integrates chakras and they said they just couldn't do it. It's not possible. They do it all the time. It could be that person doesn't mean they're bad. We're not judging. We're just talking about things the way they are, as they are. Just get the mind out of it and this is the reality we live in. Not every human being is authentic and organic. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. So when you bring this in, one of the ways they help, how does it help you? First of all, you cannot be hacked with this, with your original system. You become more unified, protected, and whole. This system also gives you a better radar for synthetic energies and entities. You'll see them coming because you will be able to detect their energy. Because you've got you're back to being your natural self and natural being. You're now aware of energy. And as you work on yourself, anything that comes into the space of your aura, you can feel it. You can go, oh, what's that? And then you can detect anything being done energetically to you, whether you can see it or feel it. And this is as you keep working on yourself. one step at a time. This will come. Everything is not automatic. It's about taking the next step and the next step and the next step until one day you've reached another level. It's not a race. You don't have to you don't have to be, oh, I've gotten this done. I've gotten my chakra integrated. Now I'm perfect. You still have to continue to work on yourself, because once you've integrated that, there is a standard that you now must reach. You must now work from within to clear out the things that are still there from the times when you had those other energy centers. So you have to work to still take those things out, those energies that are discordant. But when you have your integration and your energy centers working, it becomes much easier for you to do that. Now, how does this system work? Part 2 here. And you're looking at a picture right now where you can see the physical body with the spiritual soul trio or trinity, or these 3 energy centers. Right now, that's what you're looking at. And that is ultimately supposed to work together in harmony. These are supposed to work together in harmony. And when it does, if and when it travels through the systems, you'll notice that there's a track there. It looks like a figure 8 track that you can see going from the heart to the head and down to the loins. That track is how the energy travels within the system. And when it's turned on, you have that track. And every complete travel through that track is considered 1. And so to be really, really healthy, you might start off when you first connect everything. You want to be at 3 CPSs. 3 CPSs. Now, what is a CPS? CPS simply stands for cycles per second. So every time it goes through that figure 8, as I've just said, that's 1 cycle. And so you want to be at 3 cycles per second, and you want to keep advancing and increasing the cycles per second. You want to keep increasing the cycles. You want to keep jumping. And with each level you jump, you are breaking the M field, which is the minimum cycles per second that you operate. And it is easier to do it again. Also, the more cycles per second you engage, the more times per second you do that figure 8, it means more and more of your authentic self begins to be revealed, right? And so I'll give you like a few figures from the site here. At 11 cycles per second, you become more sovereign and self-aware. And you start bringing in a lot of your psychic abilities. They become triggered. And more soul memories are awakened. You're more impermeable to outside forces. You start seeing the matrix for what it is. You have the ability to get some immunities to the corruption and virus here on this planet. You're more capable of helping to clean up and fix distortions here. Your capacity to put your benevolent intentions in place for the good of all life forms here becomes more easily manifested and increases. Now, as you keep increasing and you keep working and following the path of your spirits, your cycles will increase. At 22 cycles, you basically are magnifying what you were at 11 cycles. Your ability to create and manipulate the matrix becomes easier. You get more immunities to the corruption and the viruses here. Okay, you don't fall for the little tricks so easily anymore because you can see through them before they even show up. Okay? You don't become as naive and gullible anymore. Now, at 33 cycles per second, again, it's amplified even more so from the 22 cycles per second. It's now easier to stay at 22 because the higher you go now, when you go to the next one, then the lowest that you ever go as you keep maintaining your frequency and doing your work and staying on the path, the lowest you'll go is the previous cycle. So at 33 cycles, if you dip low, you'll dip to 22. That's as low as you'll go. And you'll anchor in at that 22. And at this point, according to Laura Lee, your X-Men abilities start to begin to show up. And then at 44 cycles per second, everything you had at 33 again becomes amplified. You start displaying those superhuman powers. This is where you really start going into Christ consciousness. And let me tell you, folks, this is possible. People are doing it. People are doing it. I come into contact with them all the time. They're not going around shouting and talking about what their abilities are. You know, they keep it to themselves and they work on behalf of humanity. Well, there are some people out here in the world doing some miraculous things. But let me tell you something. There's a reason why we don't have a World War III going on right now. And it has to do with people like that, and even not even people that are this side, but just all of us deciding that we no longer want that. We will not accept that anymore. And because we don't want it, we have removed all consent from it. It cannot happen. So the more we work and we increase our frequencies, increase our cycles at which we travel that energetic loop between these three energy centers, the more powerful we become, the better at manifesting we become, the more we're able to create our reality, the happier we become, because we will simply not tolerate anything that does not serve us, and we will bring into being the things that do. Very simply. Now, at 55 cycles per second, you're blasting into super consciousness and vibrating so fast that you can literally disappear. I met someone a couple of years ago. She was 10 feet away from me. I never saw her. And I was sitting where she was standing where she was for about an hour or so. And I was sitting where I was for about the same time. And this isn't a place where the place is packed. There's just, sardine can going on in there. No. In that case, somebody could be 3 feet away from you. You won't see them because there's so much energy and so many people. No, this is a room, huge room capacity, about 150 people, and there were only 16 of us in there. So she disappeared, and then we were doing it was a workshop, and we were pairing off and doing different exercises, and I think someone had left the room, and the number was odd, and suddenly she just appeared, and boom! I'm like, she just came from, I don't know, like a few feet away. It was amazing. So there are people on this planet with these abilities, and these are people that have worked on their frequency, worked on themselves, and it's not magic. You're just doing you're just doing the things that you need to work on: self-love, things that hold you back, emotions that no longer serve you. All these, you don't have to do all. You don't have to be working on superhuman stuff. These are just the normal stuff that we talk about every day. You work on them and you dissipate these energies, and you start to see things come into play that you never thought were possible. So it is possible, folks. It is possible. Now, as you might have guessed, now this is a problem. This is why I don't, when you remove your chakras, there are things in place that could be left over that could cause problems. I don't remove chakras. I know how, but I don't do them because so many things are left behind when you do that. I show people how to integrate their chakras, and I assist in integrating them. And integrating, and so I say integrating the chakras, which basically means bring them into one, they disappear, and then you bring the energy centers online. And it's very easy to do. Now, here's the thing about dealing with a chakra issue. I will not talk about chakra removal because I don't do it. And I personally don't recommend it because of the booby traps and the things that are laid in place when you try to remove them. But if you integrate them, those things do not happen. Because when you integrate them, you just don't you're sort of working within the realm of the natural protection that allows you to naturally become who you are. There's a protection for that. And when you work on yourself and you're ready for them to be gone and you let it happen naturally, you have nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. So here's the thing. Some of us are not ready to have our chakras removed. Because if you haven't worked on whatever it is that you need to work on, particularly inner child and emotional body work are the two that stand out. You have to work on your inner child and emotional body work and work with your spirit. Because I remember when I learned about chakra removal integration, I was like, oh, I want them gone. I was like, I want them gone. I don't want another day without them. And my higher self, my deep self said, you have some work to do because you have to have them because you cannot have them integrated while you still have some of the emotional and inner child work that you need to do. So I simply said, okay. And I worked on myself. And it took me about, I'm not giving any time here. It all depends because I'd actually been working on myself for 4 years, meditation and doing all the things that I needed to do beforehand, before I even found out about this chakra integration situation. Then after I found it, I said, you just keep working. And when you're ready, you will know. I will let you know. So I kept working. And after about 4 months, I got the message. I got the time to integrate the chakras. And I said, okay, I want them gone. I want them integrated, and I want my energy centers to automatically come back online. So here's what I did. I basically, with my intention, removed the energy from the chakras. I didn't get rid of them. I just basically said, I want energy I want to activate my original energy chakras, the ones that are mine, the one I was born with, the one that come naturally with this body. And I want them activated, and I want the energy to run through those energy centers. And then in my mind, I ran this figure eight, as you see in the photo, this figure eight. And with my intention, I said, okay, now that they're coming into line, I want them to work together as one, led by the heart. And so it is. And in about 3 months, they were integrated. So where I assist people is in this process, is we talk about the kind of inner work that needs to be done to get you ready to have your chakras go bye-bye. Once you do the inner work and you get rid of the hooks that they can come back on you for, then the chakras will just fall away. They're not getting the energy anymore. And once you use that with your intent, no being can attack you for it. Because again, you're in the natural beltway of protection. The universe says this being wants their natural energy centers back, and it is their birthright. There's nothing, anything, or anyone can do about it. And then you just continue to do your work, and that's it. Next thing you know, you come back 3-4 months later, your chakras are integrated and you're on your 3 energy centers. And you just continue to follow the path of your spirit. You don't have to, it's not an intellectual thing. It's not let me do this, let me do that. No, it's a spiritual thing, and it's something that occurs with the intelligence that's above the mind. It's painless and it's gradual. And so that's the way to go about integrating your chakras. The real work lies in doing what you need to do to become whole again, emotionally heal, rid yourselves of those things that no longer serve you. And then you will start seeing, even if you just intend to do that work, when you're ready, you will get signs. You will see things on your internet. You will, if you can hear the voice of your spirit, you'll hear that. You'll hear messages and you'll know. And you check in and you'll be ready for that to happen. And now more than ever, it is time for that to happen. And there is just the universe, your spirit is just waiting for you to say, I'm ready for this stuff to be gone. And that's when you'll start climbing the ladders of consciousness at rates that are beyond what you could ever imagine that you were capable of doing. It's just simply amazing. Simply amazing. So that is it. That is all that there is to it. As far as that is concerned. That is all that is to it. Now I'm going to touch up a little bit on raising your frequency or increasing your cycles per second. How do you do that? How do you increase your cycles per second? And I said it earlier, working on yourself. Another way to do that is to work with your spirit. Work with your higher self. Ask for what is needed. Okay? Ask for what is needed to be done. Another thing, if you haven't heard of this, is removal of all the other energetic and etheric implants from within the body. That will lift it very quickly, almost instantly, once that work is done. Another way is clearing all the methods that are tying you down. Guard your energy from people who are low vibrational, who are still tied into the old ways. Find a peer group that is at least on your level, or that are constantly working and are at different levels of awakeness, because that will quicken it for you. That's one of the quickest ways to jump the ladders of consciousness and really attain and gain and become a better version of yourself. Get around people that are already where you want to be. And just through osmosis, you will learn to get there. It's one of the quickest and easiest ways to do it. Okay? So, And another way to do it, and you do this with your intention, reinstall your original, authentic blueprints, codes, and power. Just do that with your intention. You want it all back. Okay? And invoke the return to rightful owner clause. Just say that. It's a universal clause. Nothing that is taken from you can be kept away from you once you demand it back. So you go, I invoke the return to rightful owner clause, and I want everything returned to me in its original and healed state. And anything that's placed within me that is not mine and that does not serve me, I want it gone now. And it has to go. That has to happen. That's how powerful you are. That's how powerful you are. And then you just simply, with your intention, activate the love and purity from your core star. That's the heart. Activate the clarity and focus in the brain star. That's in the head. Activate the authentic and creativity that is in your the loin star. And those are simple ways to increase your cycles per second. Or many more ways as you just work, it'll just increase. If you're just really in earnest, doing your work, it'll increase. Random acts of kindness will increase your cycles per second. Great love for another person, great love for yourself, great love for other beings, trees, animals, the earth, that will also do it. So you see, it's the simplest things in life that grow your consciousness at alarming rates. Bring back your humanity and your power. The simplest things. It's amazing. Look, thank you so much for watching. I hope you got a whole lot out of this. It was a pleasure for me to bring this subject and talk about it. Because this was one of the biggest things that I did. One of the most important things that I did in my life is to bring back the authentic me in this regard. And it's paying back tenfold, more than tenfold. I don't even know how many folds. All right. Thank you so much. Share, like, and subscribe. And remember to defy the taboo against finding out who you really are.